Hey everybody, Greg Dingrando here, and we've got another top 5 common mistakes list for you. And today, we're taking a look at commercial mechanical mistakes. To go over this one, we got Nancy with us.
Hi.
You ready to go through these and educate everybody?
I'm ready.
Let's do it. Number 1, covering up the hood wall in a kitchen before it gets inspected. RBD inspectors need to be able to make sure no combustible material is in the wall, so it's required to call in the inspection before the wall is covered with building material like drywall or cement. Keyword there being before. You guys really need to be able to see in there.
Absolutely. So the hood wall is the wall in the commercial kitchen where the Type 1 hood is being hung, and there can be no combustibles inside of that wall. And so the mechanical contractor needs to call in a hood wall inspection so that we can verify that there's nothing in that wall that could possibly ignite at a future date. And oftentimes we'll get contractors that are not aware that they need to call that hood wall inspection in, and that can cause a problem.
And it needs to be the mechanical, right? Sometimes you might think the wall, that's a building, but that's the mechanical people that need to call that in.
That's right. Building's looking at how the wall was built. Mechanical inspectors looking to make sure there's no combustibles.
This is one of those cases where the contractor really needs to show some patience, kind of wait for our mechanical inspectors to get in there and then get the go-ahead and then get in there and drywall it.
That's correct. Once we've checked that there are no combustibles, they can go ahead and cover that up as long as the other trades are good with it too.
Number 2, installed mechanical work doesn't match the plan designs RBD has on file. It's important for contractors to get revisions back through plan review in a timely manner so the on-site inspections can continue with the revised and approved plans. This is something you guys see a lot. Maybe out in the field they're working on revision number 4, but we only have revision number 2 on file, so they're just not matching up.
That's correct. Oftentimes there will be changes done by the engineer or the architect that we're unaware of. The contractor's working off a good set of plans as far as they're concerned. It just doesn't match what we have, and we need the two to be the same.
Okay. Number 3, incorrect type of ceiling dampers being installed in a rated wood structure floor ceiling or roof ceiling assembly. Contractors must install the correct rated ceiling radiation damper for each assembly.
This is happening a lot in multifamily, which is apartment buildings. Keep in mind that we have to protect each apartment from the other apartment above, below, or to the side of it. And so any penetrations going through what's called a floor ceiling or roof ceiling assembly needs to be protected with the correct damper. It's very important that the mechanical contractor understand what UL assembly their damper is going through and that they have purchased the correct damper for that assembly.
Number 4, contractors not installing per plan. It is required that the work in the field matches the approved plans that RBD has on file for the project. This is similar to number 2 that we already talked about, but this one's a little bit different because then you might have a contractor that runs into a problem and then just kind of comes up with their own workaround.
Yeah, and it happens all the time. They'll be out in the field and there'll be something in the way that no one was aware of when the plans were being drawn, and the contractor needs to move forward, so they'll come up with a fix in the field. They just need to let the engineer know that this has happened and have those plans revised to show what actually got installed.
Right, and it's not to say that you can't, we know problems are going to come up.
All the time.
And you can make changes. It just needs to be documented in the correct way. Let the engineer know, they sign off on it, and then the plans get updated.
That's correct, because we want the plans to reflect what actually got installed on site.
Number 5, incorrect framing for fire smoke dampers. Every opening a fire smoke damper must be framed per the damper manufacturer's instructions. Every framed opening must be inspected by an RBD mechanical inspector before it is covered up by sheetrock, and there are a lot of different manufacturers out there for this stuff.
There are so many different damper manufacturers, and each one of them has their own way that when they got their damper tested, that it was framed a certain way, and so that damper has to be framed per that manufacturer's installation instructions. And oftentimes there's confusion. The building inspector will come out and will look at how the wall is constructed, but the frame damper opening has not been looked at. That gets looked at by the mechanical inspector. We have to have those installation instructions at the time of inspection, and the contractor needs to give those instructions to their framing person and make sure that it has been built the way that the picture shows.
Okay. All right, so we will look at these 5 common mistakes. How big of a difference do you think this will make out in the field for the contractors as well as for you and the other inspectors if just these 5 are taken care of?
If those 5 are taken care of, those are the majority of the big problems that we encounter. And if they have been taken care of as the project is started, we can keep things moving along and get that business open as quickly as possible.
Yeah, and that's what everybody wants, right? We don't want to be slowing people down, but contractors certainly don't want to be slowed down in any way.
That is true. We are there to help move this project along.
All right, sounds good. All right, Nancy, thank you so much. Thanks for joining us, everybody. Have a great day.
Have a good day.